company, Snap Construction, for a free home inspection.
This is Ryan, owner of Snap Construction. There are a lot of great construction companies in town. My advice is to take your time and do your research. Make sure they are locally owned and that they guarantee their craftsmanship for life. Also, you want to find a company that's been in business for at least 10 years. You want to work with a company that's going to be there long after the work is done. Snap Construction has handled thousands of claims, and we'll help you through the process.
Don't go with the out-of-town fly-by-night contractor. Most storm damage goes missed by the untrained eye. Trust Snap Construction for your free storm damage evaluation. For your free storm damage evaluation, call Snap Construction at 612-333-SNAP or visit them online at snapconstruction.com. That's 612-333-SNAP or snapconstruction.com.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 44, Wednesday sunny with a high near 67, and Thursday sunny with a high near 81. The next time you're out in South Minneapolis, make Nightingale off 26th and Lyndale your go-to dining option. It's a comfortable neighborhood restaurant that features a delicious menu of American classics plus a wide drink and cocktail selection. Current hours are 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. daily with a full menu until midnight. More at nightingalempls.com.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host, guest, random reptoid, or chupacabra may not necessarily reflect those of AM 950 Radio, its affiliates, or its sponsors. Now, it's time to step into the unknown. There are things people experience but never talk about. A shadow moving in the corner, flickering of the lights, a disembodied voice. We invite you to talk with us. Share your story, share your experience, because this isn't just your story. This is our story. This is Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken.
And this is Ghostbox Radio on AM 950, where every night we talk about the paranormal, ufology, Bigfoot, and so much more. My name is Greg Bakken. Thank you very much for joining me tonight. If you are watching the Things Network, we were just doing a live, just talking about the 1979 version of Stephen King's Salem's Lot, the miniseries that aired way back then. I just know there's going to be a point in October that I'm going to bring some people on. We're going to talk about that. Have you ever seen that? The 1979 Salem's Lot, because it is, I think for its time, it's one of the scariest miniseries that has ever aired, and it aired in November of 1979 on CBS. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look. If you've read the novel, the Stephen King novel, check this out, because it's the same but not the same, and it's well worth a watch. So I just wanted to pass that along. It's fresh in my mind. I really, really enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy tonight's conversation. We're going to have a lot to talk about here, and there is a lot that we can kind of, no pun intended, talking about vampires, because this isn't a vampire show, but we have a lot to sink our teeth into here tonight. And partially, I really am looking forward to getting some input here from the comment section stuff, because my guest tonight is extraordinarily gifted, a great writer, and there is so much that I think we can learn and listen to with her. Sherilyn Carter is a psychic medium, remote viewer, and explorer of high strangeness. Having a first paranormal experience at a young age made her realize she had a unique sixth sense and was able to communicate with those on the other side. Her passion for one haunted location afforded her the opportunity to appear and consult in Chris Halton's documentary, A Haunting at Bachelor's Grove, one of the most haunted cemeteries in the Midwest. She is an experiencer, a member of MUFON and CE5. She served as a consultant for Thomas Conwell's books, They Are Here, Central U.S. UFOs, and Earthquakes and UFOs. Cheryl is an international author of 8 books, including Chosen, Dimensions, Mysterious Triangles in the U.S., and co-author of Digging into Skinwalker Ranch and Skinwalker Ranch Basin Files. She is a freelance journalist with her column, The Carter Files, Mysteries of the Unknown in Paranormal Underground magazine, and in addition, writing for ChicagoHauntings.com, iHeart Magazine, and Mind, Body, Spirit magazine. Cheryl, welcome to Ghostbox Radio.
Hi, glad to be here.
Oh, very glad to have you here as well. There's a lot to talk about. And once again, I'd like to invite everybody into the conversation. If you have a question for Cheryl tonight, please put it into the comments. We are streaming live on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken on Things Network and, of course, on AM 950 Radio. Please put your comments in there and we'll get to them. You know, there's so much that we can talk about tonight, and I think we're going to get to a lot of different things. But the one reason I wanted to bring you on tonight, Cheryl, is I wanted to talk about your book, Chosen. And did that just come out? Is that pretty new?
I'd say 6 weeks.
I'd call that pretty new then. I thought so. And I apologize that I'm sounding so like I'm unsure, because sometimes I will bring people on and we'll talk about their new book and they'll be like, yeah, that new book I released in 2020. And, you know, I think I know, and I clearly don't. So thank you very much for that. Cheryl, what's Chosen about?
It's about real UFO encounters and abductions.
And the fact that you're getting people to give their story to you,
Right. And I wanted, I mean, we all hear stories about these things, but I wanted to bring the human aspect. How did these people feel? What happened to them after this event? How did their lives go on? How did they change?
right?
You never hear that part of the story.
It's strange in a sense that a lot of times these stories are looked at as curiosities, aren't they?
Mhm.
Opposed to what you just said. When you're talking to these people about their stories and the angle that you chose, was that releasing for them in terms of someone actually finally kind of paying attention to more than just the aspect of I may have been abducted by something?
Well, that's what they all felt, because they've gone through hypnotic regressions too, and like their lives have just really changed. And we don't ever look at it that way. We go, oh, this happened. They lived happily ever after. Well, they didn't.
No.
Nobody lives happily ever, because you are a total different person after this.
And the fact of the matter is I apologize because you had sent me the book and it got lost in email, and you did send it. I just did not seem to get it, so I didn't get to read it as much as I should. Were a number of these people that you got their story from, did they get repeat abductions?
No, I didn't see anybody that got repeat.
They only got it once then.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I mean, once is enough, isn't it?
I don't even want to do it once. That's okay.
Right, exactly. Now,
I'll watch from behind this.
Have you ever been abducted? Have you ever had any experience?
I've seen things in the sky, but they don't need to come down and visit me. That's okay.
I got to tell you, and I'll keep it quick because this isn't about me. But I did, you and I were talking about spirit box sessions prior to the start of the show. And I did do one where I was reaching out to, specifically trying to reach out to some kind of alien frequency. And everyone started to feel odd. It was a Facebook Live, and everyone started to feel odd about it. Mm-hmm. And the box, it wasn't the Spirit Box Pro, it's just a regular SB7, and it starts to go faster than it's supposed to. The sweep rate starts really going faster. And people start to feel ill. I start to really feel like I'm losing it. And it kills my phone. I can't get it to restart. But as a psychic medium, as someone who can feel energy as you are, I'm sure you understand when you feel there's some kind of energy in the room that suddenly wasn't there before. It's almost like that there's something like in the corner just watching me.
That shouldn't be there, yeah.
That shouldn't be there. The next day, for no reason, I'm just sitting there. Like, I'm still kind of out of it a little bit, but I'm trying to get something done at home. And all of a sudden, blood just starts coming out of my nose. And I've never had it. And it's been kind of the start for me of kind of a downhill a kind of a kind of a lump in my life, to be very honest, which only now I feel like I'm starting to get out of. And I can't say, like they can in your book, I can't say that's an alien situation, but what was I asking for? And what did I get? And stuff like, you know, that sort of like just like the nosebleeds and stuff like that. What's going on here? I don't know. But even on my scale, whatever that was, it has stayed with me. There isn't a day that goes by, Cheryl, that I don't think about that. And I think about that with the book that you've written about how these people must still feel about their experiences.
You could have had something interdimensional. I mean, we don't know who we talked to.
Totally. Absolutely. Totally. And you know, how did you find the people that you've interviewed for this book? What did you have a lot more stories than what you put in there, and you're just kind of
Oh yeah, I had more. Yeah, I don't know. I just started looking, Googling, you know, different things.
And were you Googling like alien abduction or something? Or?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did. And I was looking at names, you know, and some of them, you know, you start read about the story and you go, oh, that didn't really happen. Okay. You know, so you had to just kind of rule some of them out, but yeah.
How do you do that? Because I mean, because it is a very valid question and a very valid thing that you're doing. It's like, I'm sure you're looking at stuff and you're like, that doesn't really ring true. What is there any kind of like signs that you kind of see or read that you're like, that tells me that is not really
well, like you know, like somebody's story, you might see a couple paragraphs about them, then you don't see anything else, and you go, okay, if it was really true, there'd be lots of write-ups about it. A lot of people would be talking about it. You know, so
did you have any problems with getting these people to share their story, or were they pretty okay with it?
No, they share. Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think some people also keep it very close to them. So I just, you know, sometimes that's why I ask, because we did a program and a friend of mine, she shared her experience for the first time, and what happened after that was really I felt so bad because she instantly regretted publicly sharing it. So do you have any thoughts on that in terms of people who are like, they don't want to share it, they think they're really worried about sharing it or what people think? Do you have any thoughts like on how whether it's like it's best to share it, or do you think that's just more of like just a very personal sort of decision?
See, I think it depends on which group of people you're talking to, because there are people that are going to say like you're nuts. Right. And there's other people that are going to understand. So you do have to be careful. You know, even when you're a paranormal investigator, you know, you have to be careful. I don't tell everybody I'm a psychic medium, because there's people that think I'm a nut too. So you got to just watch who you tell what with, how much you share with them.
Do you think it's gotten better over the past?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the thing is, though, sadly, in my experience, at least, you find people who they look at like paranormal, or if you have any sort of like alien interaction, that is cool. You know, that's so cool. And it's like, but it's not cool. It's not, it's actually very frightening for people for anybody really, I think, especially the alien part of it.
Yeah, you hear people say, oh, how cool. I wish I could be abducted. No, you don't.
Exactly. I mean, and I've had people when I shared, and I'm hoping that someday they'll come on the program and talk about their experience, but they're unsure. Like you just said, they're unsure like what like if their work listens or whatever.
Yeah,
I've had people tell me.
True. Yeah.
I've also had people tell me like, check behind your ear if there's like an incision, you know, stuff like that. And it's like, wow, that's really incredible that, you know, you get to that point that people are like able to tell you like what areas to look out for on your body, of any sort of sign that something might have happened to you.
Yeah. See, I don't tell my work that I talk to spirits. That wouldn't go over well.
No. And as it happens, I believe that I was fired in May from my last job because they knew what I do as a investigator and into this stuff, even though I made it my business, kind of like what you're saying, Cheryl, not to really make a thing of it, but other people knew, so they asked me about it. And I think that rubbed some people the wrong way. And I think that there's nothing, it'd be nice to be able to feel free to talk about it, but you also have to take care of yourself, don't you?
Yeah. Because we had clients that might not think this is okay. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that's one of the things that I find, very interesting because, like, for me, the people who do know, they at the work I was at, they sensationalized it. And, it's not good. Now, someone like yourself, if your work doesn't know, how do you keep it quiet? Because you're kind of all over the place. You're not quiet about being a part of this community, Cheryl.
I don't think they come to Facebook.
I was gonna say, do you go by a different name or something?
No, I don't think they look at Facebook because they never ask me.
That's incredible. It's certainly one of those weird situations where you want to be able to share. You think that it's getting more accepted, and you find that it only takes one person, I think, Cheryl, that it can kind of ruin it for everybody in terms of people who don't like it. Yeah. What I think I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take my first break here. And what we're going to do when we come back, if you have questions for Cheryl, put them to the chat. We got some comments we'll read. I want to talk about how Cheryl decided to write this book. We have so much more to talk about. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
If you own a holistic or metaphysical business and are looking to expand, then you need to be listed on metamorphosisconnections.com. It's a network where you can grow with like-minded practitioners and reach new clients. Metamorphosisconnections.com is an online directory you need to list yourself and your business. Our platform makes it easy for you to create listings of your products and services, and you can also choose to list your classes, events, and so much more. Metamorphosisconnections.com helps you create weekly and monthly promotional ads targeted towards your potential clients and promotes them for you via social media and newsletter. There are clients searching for your specialty right now. Let us help them find you. Start your listing today so you can share your own unique gifts and talents by finding the level of membership that best fits your needs. Let us help you reach your clients that are searching for what you do. Visit metamorphosisconnections.com and sign up today.
It's the start of our favorite season in Minnesota, football season. That's right, with all the hype and action this season brings, we know things can get loud and messy quick. Before you invite your friends and family over to watch the big game, you better call my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to clean up all of those fumble moments in your home. Lucky for you, you can score big this month with great savings. Right now, you can get your entire home zero-resified from Minnesota's ultimate carpet cleaner and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $149. It's also a perfect time of year to get your air ducts cleaned this month with $100 off your air duct cleaning. And air duct cleaning will help alleviate allergies and asthma. You will enjoy less dust, lower energy bills, and your home will stay cleaner longer. Schedule your appointment today at ZeroResMinnesota.com or by calling 952-ZERO-RES and asking for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Have you ever wanted to see a real Masonic lodge or visit a beautiful hotel from the 1800s? Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Charvinity, bring you a weekend of paranormal investigations in Rush City, Minnesota. Starting Friday, September 22nd at the historic Grant House and continuing into Saturday, September 23rd at the Jasper Masonic Lodge, we have a lot of options for you to join in on this event. Go to charvinity.com/event-list for full details. We have that event coming up at the Masonic Lodge. It's coming up very fast. We still have some tickets left. All the VIP tickets have sold out, but we are doing both the Grand House in Rush City and the Jasper Masonic Lodge. The Grand House is on Friday. The Masonic Lodge is on Saturday. This Masonic Lodge, no one's investigated before, apart from Shar and myself. So it's a new territory. It's really pretty cool. You can get tickets. Go to charvinity.com/event-list. Check it out. See what's available. It's going to be a lot of fun. That's September 22nd and 23rd. We got some comments, Cheryl, that came through that I just want to read. First of all, Joanne says, Shar should read stories out loud. Her voice is soothing. I will pass that along to her. A lot of people say that when I read that they cry. I don't know what that means. I'm assuming that means good stuff, right?
It could be good, yeah. You're moving them.
you got to look at the bright side, Cheryl. You know, the compliments are so far in between. This is a tough crowd. I'm just going to let you know that. Rick says, I've been in the paranormal for quite a while. And I remember in the beginning, the fear people had concerning talking about experiences. It's comparable to UFO stories, abductions. Cheryl, have you been doing this for a little while? I don't want to make you give me a number for years or anything.
I was born this way, so yeah.
That's right. I read that actually.
Yeah.
I've
been doing it quite a while.
Right. And so, I mean, how did you deal with it growing up, as far as sharing this with other people in your life?
Well, see, at first I thought everybody could do this.
Sure.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
And then I guess maybe I was about 12, 13, and I realized that the other kids never talked about this stuff. So, okay, keep it to yourself.
Were you disappointed that others couldn't do it? Like they're missing out?
Well, I didn't know if they couldn't do it. I just didn't hear anyone talk about it. And I was really shy, so I didn't bring up the subject. Because now I'm friends with somebody that I went to grade school with, and he says, "Why didn't you tell me?"
Did he have experiences?
No, he just thought that was cool. He just thought that was cool, but I didn't know if they would think it was cool.
No, I mean, and yeah, I totally get it. And people label people, especially kids. They can be very cruel, can't they?
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, and I went to Catholic school and all that stuff. So,
yeah, I did too.
Yeah, so,
boy, if I had, I mean, and those are uniforms, and like I was a growing boy. I'm 6'1", and when I'm in third grade, I was like 5'12", and so my blue corduroy pants would rise up because I'm growing by the day. And other kids would be like, "Where's the flood?"
Oh, no.
And I'm like, and this is how quick-witted I am. It took me like 2 weeks to figure it. I'm looking around like, is there water? Honestly. And they're just like, "Where's the flood?" I'm like, oh, I get it. Someday I'll be strong enough to push you down. So now, Chosen, which is what we're talking about tonight, it is available on Amazon. Also, we put all the authors that we have on the program onto ghostboxradio.com. Look for Ghostbox Book Club. If you buy it through our link, we do get a little money back. Is there anywhere else? Do you have your own site, Cheryl, that you like people to buy from, or is Amazon good?
You could just reach me on Facebook, because I have books here, and then I can send signed copies out.
So you can send signed copies. Go find Cheryl Lynn Carter, and she can help you out with that. It's great. And you designed the cover too, didn't you?
Yeah.
I think it looks great. I think it's really
scary. Is that scary?
It's a little scary. It is a little scary, but it's a catching cover for it. Now, how was it that you decided to write this book?
Okay, here's the crazy part. So I remote viewed to Skinwalker Ranch.
Mm-hmm.
And after I did that, I got a binary download, which reminded me of the story of Rendlesham Forest.
Okay.
So then I got to write a book about all these other things. I guess that's what was telling me to write this book. Maybe that's what the download was. I don't know.
Right. And for those who are, might be a newer concept, what is a binary download? What does that mean?
It's just binary code is just zeros and ones.
Right.
A big series of zeros and ones.
And does it show up that way for you yourself, or is this happening when you are sleeping or something like that?
I was wide awake and I could see it, but I mean, there's no way I could write it down. It was going so fast. And
right.
I don't know what it said.
It's almost like one hard drive transferring material and data to a second hard drive, right?
Yeah, really fast. Yeah.
Really fast. Wow. And so you're basically told you need to write this book.
Yeah.
Why do you think that you were told to write this book?
I said just so that people can be aware that when someone has an encounter or an abduction, that life doesn't go on as usual, because there's nothing usual about it anymore, and people need to understand that.
Do you know of any sort of like support groups or anything for people who have been abducted, and that maybe it's just kind of a safe place for people to be able to share their experiences or just be able to be around other like-minded people?
Well, you can join your local MUFON chapter, because we have meetings every couple months, and people can come there and you can tell your story to each other. Nobody judges you, and you're going to meet somebody else that has a similar story.
How long have you been part of MUFON?
7 years.
Over here in Minnesota, we had on Tom Maurer, who was awesome, and he's going to be speaking at one of our events in October at Ghost Stories and Beyond. And you know, I think it's really good that, you know, at least in Minnesota, I don't think there were a lot of people that realized that there was a MUFON chapter or presence in the state. And I do you feel like MUFON is getting its message out well enough, or do you think that needs to improve at all?
Well, see, that's up to each individual state, how much that they're advertising, come to our meetings and stuff.
And so your area is doing all right then.
Yeah.
And what role do you play in MUFON? What do you often do when you're part of with that group?
Well, I collect all the money when people come in the door every meeting.
Okay, well, you know, that works.
Yeah, but I mean that's it. I don't really. I'm studying to be a field investigator. You have to take a test. I haven't passed the test. I want to be a field investigator. Yeah.
Is that difficult to do? And I apologize for the really green questions, but I have no idea. It's a very interesting subject, and MUFON, I've heard of MUFON for decades, but I really don't know how it works.
Well, it's a big, thick book I have to read, and there's an online test, but it tells you like how to talk to the people that have seen something, and when they tell you what you see, now you got to go back and check what the weather was at that time, what kind of star systems were out at that night, were there any satellites? They're teaching you all the stuff to look at so you can say, oh, this is what it is, this is what it wasn't. So it's important to know all those things. You wouldn't believe how many people see the Starlink go by and think that they're seeing UFOs, but they do.
That's been very prevalent, hasn't it?
Yeah.
I've been seeing a lot of people talk about that in particular. You had mentioned that, seeing them from afar. Have you had that experience where you've seen an unidentified object that you really cannot explain what it is?
Several times. The first time I saw the sky open up. People want to talk about portals. I don't know what it is. The sky opened up, perfectly blue sky. And the silver craft came out, and it's just hovering there in the air. And I don't know how. Maybe I watched it for like 10 minutes or something. I can't believe no one else was looking. Everything around me seemed to just go in slow motion. Maybe I'm the only one that saw it. Maybe I wasn't supposed to see it. But then it just went right back into that hole, and the sky sealed up. That was crazy. I've also seen light rods in the sky. They're not solid. They look like the sun, but they're rods of light.
I don't think you can see this. Sorry, I can't. I'll send it to you.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I think. If you're seeing it looking something like this, which I know you can't see, I'm holding a picture up to the camera for Cheryl to see. As a matter of fact, I'm going to send it to you in Messenger real fast, because this is what I had seen with my friend John at his house, and everyone was like, "Well, that's Starlink," and it isn't. It's not Starlink. It doesn't match what Starlink looks like.
I know. I put a picture on my Facebook yesterday, and with something that I saw in Utah, and some people are, that's Starlink. No, it's not.
No, and so I just sent it to you.
Okay, yeah.
Is that what you saw?
Yeah.
That's what we saw as well, but we saw it at night.
Mine was in the daytime, yeah.
That would be pretty.
So you don't know if the sky opened. Could you see if the sky opened?
Yes, I totally saw the sky open. Wow. And they would come out, and then they would drop, and it was multiple ships coming out. We never saw anything like that in our lives. And we were just talking, because he lives out in more of a rural area in Wisconsin. And we're just talking about, wouldn't it be great to see something? Because the sky was so clear and beautiful. And he looks up and he's like, what on earth is that? And we're looking at it, and we're just watching the circle and these ships coming out. And and his wife was like, well, that's Starlink. And it's just like, no, what Starlink is looks very different from that. I understand that's I can understand why you think that we would think it's, not Starlink, but it truly was something pretty crazy.
Starlink is a row of lights, and it's a straight row of lights. It doesn't move up and down. It's a straight.
Exactly.
It's like somebody's flying a plane with a banner behind. I guess I could describe it that way.
Absolutely.
That's what it's like.
And to me, it looks like kind of a string of Christmas lights. The tubular ones.
Right.
Yeah. No.
And difference. Yeah.
Totally. And Joanne says, it must have been scary, Greg. Honestly, it just was more like, what's going on here?
Yeah. I wasn't scared either. I go, wow.
Yeah. I mean, it's like we saw something truly unique. Maybe what might be a little scary about it is the fact that so many ships were coming out.
Yeah. How many did you see?
We lost count.
Wow.
We just kept watching, and one right after the other. And the thing was, like I said, it would come out, and then the ship would drop and then move forward. And that was, it's kind of like, are we being invaded? I mean, like, what's happening here?
Then they just all took off and they were good.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, it was incredible, and I will never forget that. No. And I am so happy that it sounds like you saw what we saw, because it's hard to explain to people what this is without them saying, like we just said, it's Starlink. So no. Now, getting back to Chosen, which is available on Amazon, or you can reach out to Cheryl Lynn Carter herself on Facebook, and you can buy it, and she'll send you a signed copy, which is always fun. Is there a story in the book that you find to be a favorite of yours?
Oh, let's see. Let's talk about Mario Woods.
Okay.
Because I don't know if everybody knows that he just recently talked to Congress about his adventure.
Yeah.
So Mario Woods, he was stationed at Ellsworth Air Force Base in Rapid City, South Dakota.
Mm-hmm.
And it's part of a NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command, that's inside the Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
And they oversee nuclear defense systems. So this Ellsworth actually had missiles there, 15 Minuteman ballistic missiles. And they had little different areas around there. So one night, it was in November, and he was outside with his partner, Michael Johnson, and they looked up in the sky, and they saw these lights. And he thought they looked kind of strange, so he got the facility lights. You could maybe think about a football stadium and the big lights that they have.
Absolutely.
So they had lights like that, and so he he started flashing the lights at this object.
Mm-hmm.
And they flashed back at him. He goes, that's kind of strange. Is it a helicopter? What, somebody playing tricks on me? And he flashed them 3 times. They flashed back, went back inside. He says, hey, come on outside. There's something happening out here. So Sergeant Johnson comes out and he goes, watch, I'm going to flash the lights. They flashed the lights, flashed back. He's just going, yeah, okay, whatever. So they went back inside. Yeah, and then it was gone. He goes, well, maybe it was a helicopter. Maybe they were playing games with me.
Mm-hmm.
So about 10:30, you're watching TV, and they got an emergency call. It was called a Situation 4, which means that the outer and inner alarm was activated over on November 5. Now, they were stationed at November 1.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to drive over to the gate, and they had to inspect, was it a bird over there or something? If something happened, they had to go inside, walk around, see if anybody's on the premises, and they'd have to go reset things. Everything would be cool. It's just almost a normal thing. So they get up to the gate, and all of a sudden it's lit up like it's daytime. This bright light, and there's this huge ship over November 5.
Oh, wow.
And he says, I don't know why I did this, but I crawled out of the window of the truck. He says, I didn't get out. There was some reason I didn't get out. And I reached out with my mag light and I started flashing the ship again. And it flashed back at him. And then all of a sudden, everything inside the truck, the energy started changing. And he looked over at Sergeant Johnson and he was just like on the steering wheel, just like the deer in the headlights. And he couldn't move. And he says, all of a sudden, he saw these 2 figures come out of the ship. And there was a tall one behind him. And all he could hear in his head was, do not fear, do not fear. And the sound traveled all through, he says, through every bit of my body. And then they came over to the side of the ship. And they took both of them out. And he found himself floating up into the air. And he looked down and he could see the words on the side of the truck. And then he just passed out and he didn't remember anything else. So then he woke up to the sound of the radio where somebody's going, what's your status? What's your status? And he goes, I don't know where we are. And he looked over at Sergeant Johnson. He's still sitting there staring ahead by the steering wheel. And he says, I don't know. And they says, well, we'll try to coordinate you. We'll find you where you are. We'll come. And he's looking around. He says, where am I? And there's this big wall next to me. And it's all covered in snow. There's no wall by November 5. Where am I? And he's looking around. He's just middle of nowhere in this wall covered in snow. So they said, don't worry, help's coming. So when they pulled up there, he says, did somebody go to November 5? Did somebody take care of this? And they weren't answering. They said, we were just here to, take care of a situation. He goes, what situation? Well, we can't talk. We can't talk about. We can't discuss this. So he gets back to the base and they're debriefing him and everything. And he found out that he's missing 5 hours.
Wow.
Where'd 5 hours go? And he says, well, where were we? Well, they were actually 7 miles north of November 5. And that big wall that they saw was the backside of the Newell Lake Dam. And they were sitting on a little section of the runoff. If Sergeant Johnson would have opened the driver's door, he would have fell over the ledge. They don't know how they got in there because there was hardly enough room for them to park.
Hardly enough room for them to get to that part where they
were.
Then
there'd be no way to turn around. And he goes, how did we get there?
Oh my gosh.
So then they took him back. They're talking to him, and these men in black suits were talking to him. And they had him sign a report, and the top of the paper said UFO on it. And then they had him sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement. And he's just very confused. but then he did a regression.
Mm-hmm.
And then he could remember that they took him up in the ship, that they examined him. There was actually a room that they showed him, and it had all kinds of things from Earth, but it was like things from the 70s. Box TVs, sewing machines, radios. Why they collected all that stuff, I don't know. So he actually had an interview with Linda Moulton Howe.
Okay.
And he says, well, while he was there at the gate, before they took him up into the ship, he says they had flashes of my life. Every part of my life flashed before me. And he says, I believe they can separate your mind or your soul from your body and analyze it to see what's going on. Wow. So I just thought that was very interesting.
That's incredible. Can we do this? Because I need to take a break here. Let's do this. Let's dissect this story, no pun intended, when we get back. Also, anyone have any questions, put it in the comments or put any comments in as well. We're talking with Sherilyn Carter. We've been talking about Chosen. You're listening to Ghostbox Radio on AM 950.
Reach your highest level of consciousness and well-being with MetamorphosisConnections.com. MetamorphosisConnections.com is an online directory of the best holistic and metaphysical practitioners to help you make your most informed choices. You can search MetamorphosisConnections.com for classes, events, wellness and life coaches, plus metaphysical products and shops. You can also search for a wide array of healers from all modalities, including EFT, sound healing, energy healing, light therapy, ancestral healing, shamanic healing, reflexology, past life regressions, hypnotherapy, yoga, and more. And if you're not sure where to start, the search feature on MetamorphosisConnections.com is tailored to help both those who know what they are looking for and those who are just starting. Come explore the possibilities for your higher self by visiting MetamorphosisConnections.com. Their experienced practitioners can guide both beginners and those that are already on their spiritual journey. That's MetamorphosisConnection.com, your link to direct you on your spiritual transformation.
I'm the host of Exploring Sovereignty with Elizabeth. In this radio show and podcast, we have conversations with heart-centered thought leaders to explore their pathway to becoming free, and we will shine a light on what has been hidden, often in plain sight, what they pay attention to, and how it has transformed them and others into a higher level thinking and feeling state during this time of great change. Explore being consciously aware, authentically free, and courageously sovereign with us. Sundays at 11 a.m. on AM 950, and check out our early release episodes that drop Thursdays on your favorite podcast apps.
Have you ever wanted to see a real Masonic lodge or visit a beautiful hotel from the 1800s? Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken, Charvinity, bring you a weekend of paranormal investigations in Rush City, Minnesota. Starting Friday, September 22nd at the historic Grant House and continuing into Saturday, September 23rd at the Jasper Masonic Lodge, we have a lot of options for you to join in on this event. Go to charvinity.com/event-list for full details.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for clear skies tonight with a low around 44, Wednesday sunny with a high near 67, and Thursday sunny with a high near 81. Nightingale at 26th and Lyndale in Minneapolis is your cozy neighborhood bar and restaurant. Come in for dinner and drinks. Favorites include the pan-roasted halibut and famous Nightingale burger and fries, while for dessert, make sure you check out the chocolate pot de creme. Open daily 5 p.m. to 1 a.m. with dinner until midnight. More at nightingalempls.com.
And join us tomorrow on Ghostbox Radio with Greg Bakken. We're going to have on Bigfoot researcher Robert Robinson. And what we're going to do is we're going to go through some recordings that were made of this creature from various locations. And Robert's going to do his best to let us know kind of what he thinks is being said and what the field believes these recordings mean and what these creatures might be saying. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation tomorrow, and I hope that you'll join us because it's been something that I've been kind of interested in lately. If you've been listening to me long enough, you know that I've been talking a lot about Squatch and had some very interesting interactions as of late. So I'm very interested to see what he has to say. But we having a great conversation tonight with Sherilyn Carter. We've been talking about her new book, Chosen, which is available on Amazon. If you want to, you could also check out the link on ghostboxradio.com under Ghostbox Book Club. But if you want a signed copy, go to Cheryl Lynn Carter's Facebook page and buy the book through her, and she will send you one signed. We were just talking about one of her favorite stories from the book chosen, and that's Mario Woods. And a couple comments have come through here. So Joanne said earlier about my UFO thing, she said that must have been scary. No, Joanne, what was scary is what Cheryl just read to us. And Joanne asked, how did they get off the rock? And I was kind of wondering that too. Were they like pulled off? Did a helicopter come and take them?
They were, as I said, there was nowhere to turn around, but they were positioned in such a way that they could just drive out.
So they just went forward.
Yeah. So when the ship picked them up, they made sure they put them down so they could get out. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Now, also along with that being a military situation, did he think at all that any kind of whatever alien this was trying to get sensitive military information from him, or just kind of a luck of the draw of what they were, who they were grabbing?
They were just grabbing humans. Yeah, they weren't asking them for any military information. But why are they hanging around military installations where there's missiles? That's a good question.
It is. Now, there's
a lot of that.
Well, exactly. Do you subscribe to the thought and theory that our government works with any aliens, or do you think that that's complete hooey?
I've heard that.
What do you think?
It's possible.
I mean, anything's possible, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I know people are bored every time I say it, but I really wish that there was like a gray that is like in some military uniform that works with the government. I just, Sergeant Gray or or Captain or Admiral Gray. But I mean, you got to wonder, and I hear so many, we talk to so many different people, Cheryl, that the it's such a range of what people think our military and our government, our interaction with aliens, it covers the gambit. It's impossible to know really based on who we're talking to, whether or not that's happening or not. And I kind of wish it was. I don't know. Do you?
Well, I mean, we think that we're hoping that they are communicating with somebody, but yet we have all these questions about why are they flying over military installations where there's missiles? If they were communicating with the government, then they would already know this.
Well, that's true too.
So that's kind of yeah.
I mean, why don't they just go? And you always wonder what the purpose, like what's the purpose of all of these abductions for this race? And do you have any sense? I mean, and this is probably a very bad question, but do you have any sense do you feel like it's all the same type of alien race that's been doing these abductions, or you think it's a gambit of different species?
Well, with all the stories I have, they all look different. So,
right.
I think they're just like us. We all look different, and who knows? They could come from different places. We think they're just going from one place, but yeah, all these creatures that have been shown here, they all look different.
Yeah, and
they all do. Well, I was going to say they all have big eyes, but in one case, they didn't have any eyes.
That's true. And that's something that I think needs to be pointed out about this excellent book is that there's some good visual references, and here's some pictures and some drawings by different people in here. This is a really
you're looking at the children's drawings?
I'm looking at the children's drawings right now.
That's something, isn't it? Oh my gosh.
Drawings by students, a witness capturing the horrified look on students' faces. And that's from the Cynthia Hind interviews.
Yeah, that was in Zimbabwe, and it was children from ages 6 to 12.
I mean, this is incredible. I mean, And I give you a lot of credit, Cheryl, for having all this visual in here, because that really helps me understand what they're talking about here. It really helps, and it makes it, not to say that I would disbelieve this, but it makes it that much more real, I think.
Yeah, because you can describe something in words, but those children's drawings, that's just. And the thing is, they tried to tell the teachers what was going on. That before Cynthia got there, and the teachers go, there's nothing outside. Let's just get on with their day. Well, they can't. Everything's changed now. They can't get on with their day, and so they went home to tell their parents, and they didn't believe them either. Now, here you are. You got this scary thing that happened to you, and you can't talk to anybody about it. And now, the one girl that. There's a couple of them that have actually they're talking about it now, and they're like in their 20s, and her name's Emily Trim, and she actually does paintings. You see some of her paintings there in the book, and she does all these paintings of what she saw. And one of her famous paintings is a little girl with pigtails and a zipper on her mouth because she wasn't able to talk about it.
Wow.
And she says now that I'm speaking at MUFON events and stuff, she says now the little girl doesn't have to have a zipper anymore. She's not afraid to speak.
Wow.
But I had to find that drawing. I had to find that.
Yeah, I can understand why. And I think that this is a great book for those who have had experiences and that they don't know how to articulate it. You know what I mean? That articulate their own feelings, I guess. And that they can understand and maybe see similarities to what's happened to them as well.
Well, and you can see there's a lot of military people in this book, and big bad military people, and they were scared. So it's okay to be scared.
It totally is. Now, speaking of military, Rick had a question for you. He wanted to know what's your opinion on the so-called disclosure from the government officials and or the military experiences, Air Force, Navy pilots. And I mean, obviously, we just talked about one that's not necessarily directly to I think what he is specifically talking about, like the Grush stuff. What are your thoughts on that, Cheryl?
I believed him. I like to hear more from this guy. I really do.
Do you think, they say that they're going to have more hearings? And like I talked to like Erica Lukes about it, and she's like, I don't think we're going to see any more hearings at all. She thinks that's lip service. What do you think that we're going to see more? Do you think that this isn't a closed book on this conversation?
I don't think we're going to see more either.
Yeah,
I don't think they liked all the stuff that he was saying. I think they wanted to shut him up when he was talking.
Well, and it's interesting because it felt like that when he was not in the hearings, he was like doing outside of the government hearings. He was sharing more information.
Right,
I mean, not a lot more, but it certainly is. It kind of felt like that. Let's do this. Maybe we'll quiet some people down a little bit. I don't know. Cheryl, you always wonder what the true point is of anything, right? Like what's really happening, and I never know. I never know.
Yeah. They just said, okay, we got to throw them some more breadcrumbs, okay?
Right. Exactly.
First we show them the Tic Tac, okay? That now we need a little more. Let's throw them some more breadcrumbs. So we're over here doing something else.
And it took years for the Tic Tac video to come out.
Yes.
Years. So I don't know. And
when he was actually one of the people talking, and I wasn't very impressed with him.
Exactly. Exactly. And he's showing up in more and more stuff is what I'm seeing. Now, we have just about a minute and a half left here. We're already through. Joanne has a comment. She just says telepathic. And in that story that you had talked to us about, that was what was happening to him, right? He was getting messages telepathically, right? I'm understanding that correctly,
absolutely,
right?
Yeah. And the children got telepathic messages, yes.
Unbelievable. I mean, what an incredible situation. And once again, folks, I'm going to say it again. definitely check out this new book, and go to Amazon and see all the other stuff that Cheryl has written, and go. And if you haven't done so, check out Paranormal Underground magazine for her column, The Carter Files, Mysteries of the Unknown. There's so much to talk about. There's other things I wanted to talk about here. We didn't get the opportunity to do so because maybe for next time, Cheryl, I'd love to talk about CE5.
Okay.
I'd like to talk about your other books as well. And that I think you know that we had Tom Conwell on the program as well. Mm-hmm. And that was he's something else. I love him. Yeah. He's great. He's great. Maybe, you know what? Maybe what we should do is have you both on at one point.
Cool, yeah.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Cheryl Lynn Carter, once again, the book is called Chosen. You can get it at Amazon, or you can get a signed copy if you reach out to her directly at Facebook, or go to ghostboxradio.com, Ghostbox Book Club. Click the link there. Cheryl Lynn Carter, thank you so much for joining me tonight. What a great conversation.
And if you've read my book, please do an Amazon review, because that's very important to do reviews for authors.
Absolutely. We'll see you tomorrow with Robert Robinson.
Come on, you know it's true. Work is almost bearable when the Stephanie Miller Show is on. AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul. The